All right, over here at the Waikau waterfall, taking a little hike just outside of Chiang Mai. Figured I'd give a little update for the fact that I have now been in Thailand for 1 year this week. And yeah, I've learned a lot in that time. And, as they say, some things change, some things always stay the same, something like that. So I arrived 2024 around like July 10th, 11th. I actually came earlier that year for a few weeks just to pre-test Thailand back in like February, March of 2024. And then I decided I think I'm going to give this a shot. For the first time in my adult life, I actually had enough money saved up and sold my car and sold basically everything that I owned and just came over here with my bank account and a suitcase and a backpack and then some camera gear, and decided to just give it a shot because life is short and it goes by so fast, and I've seen so many people never take the chance, and I figured, you know what, I'm going to take the chance whatever does happen, up or down in the future, who knows, but it's good to actually get out and explore the world. And man, what a feeling that first time to go across the seas on an airplane and step out. For me, it was stepping out into Bangkok and just my brain wrapping around the fact that the entire planet Earth was between my feet and where I first started. And that by itself is such a experience that it's hard to even describe. I can try to describe it, but you can't really understand it until you feel it in person. And then that also, the other part of that is stepping out into a culture and a world that is far different from where you came from. You know, all of the pictures on the billboards and the TV channels and stuff, everybody looks different, and there's different languages. Quite fascinating, and there's something wonderful about doing that. So if you do get a chance to do that, I would suggest it. One of the biggest regrets that I hear, I feel it myself, but I hear it and see it with many older people, is the fact that they never took the chance. They just stayed in their comfort zone, stayed in that suburban house with the lazy boy and watching TV day in and day out or whatever, and never got out and tried out the different parts of the world. And by the way, this is just one other part of the world. There's many, many, many places on this planet that are wonderful to explore. Honestly, I would love to go and explore everywhere. So if somebody wants to hire me as a documentary filmmaker and go all over the place, I'm all about that. So I would love to go out and document and experience much more of the planet. But anyways, back to the fact that I'm in Thailand. So I started in July of 2024. I initially came to Bangkok and then had like an itinerary of places. I went down to like Koh Lanta, I've been to Krabi, Phuket. I went and took a scuba diving course there, which I thought was going to be the primo thing for my trip, but it turned out bad timing. I ended up only being the one guy in the class, and I got an ear infection, and then later a blood vessel exploded in my eye, and I had to get shots in my eye. Like all sorts of bad stuff from that experience, which sucks, but it was still a beautiful experience being down there and going 18 meters below the sea and trying the scuba diving. So anyways, that was one experience. So I ended up coming up to Chiang Mai just for the experience to see how it was. I landed in one little corner of the old town in this lovely little boutique hotel on the top floor. Spent about 2 weeks there. And then I went and circled around Thailand a little bit more. I met somebody who I thought was cool and ended up coming back to Chiang Mai to hang out with them. And then I just sort of found myself in a longer term position in Chiang Mai. I was going to venues, I was meeting cool people, places like 7 Pounds, shout out, who they're a music venue, but they also attract a lot of creative and interesting people and travelers that come through there. So I've met many people over the months and got to work on little projects and do different things with those people. And all the while, during the past, I want to say 10 months or so as of now, staying in Chiang Mai almost exclusively, I've got to explore further and further out into the city and just see and compare how the differences are from a Western or a U.S. area compared to here. And to be honest, actually a lot of it is very similar, especially when you get out into the suburbs and the areas with the highways. Man, you'd be surprised at how much is similar. They have big box stores. They have the equivalent of what Home Depot and Costco and all that is. They have like Macro and Home Pro and Mr. DIY and all these things. And there's definitely neighborhoods that are built up just as suburban as anywhere in the West. Modern homes that are designed very similar. But then in between all that, you still have the older, more traditional stuff that you get to experience throughout. So it isn't like a full suburban takeover like in the US. There's a lot more history here, and it's built up in between. Yeah, so I've got to experience a lot of that. Luckily around Chiang Mai, there's tons of mountain areas, and I go hiking all the time. I've lost so much weight from walking and hiking, and of course my diet, I'm not focused on eating big, heavy meals. I eat small meals that are very affordable, and that's a whole other subject, but there's plenty for people to eat here. The street food scene is pretty amazing. That's a whole different vibe than from the USA. And and I've got to experience a lot of things. And of course I do eat things like hamburgers and stuff, still on a fairly, a couple times a month. And there's plenty here if you're homesick to keep you feeling like you're just like back home. There's modern malls that are in fact much more modern and nicer than anything I've seen in the West, because malls mostly died out back then. There might be some other ones in some bigger cities, but for the most part, the mall culture in Thailand and a lot of Asia and in general is a lot more popular. Walking is more popular, and not being car-centric is popular. Another thing is the motorcycle or the motorbike being the dominant mode of transportation out here. It's wonderful. Like, man, I don't miss having a car at all. I love just hopping on my scooter, pressing the button and just going, and barely having to pay $5, maybe $10 per month in fuel. That's if I drive a lot. And so that's wonderful. And you get priority on the roads. You get to swerve up ahead of traffic. When there's traffic, and you get to swing right up around all the cars. That part's great. It's like some freedom. Lots of other freedoms around here. I'm never worried about the police staking out and ready to catch me for something. They do have stops that are for looking out for people without helmets or without an international driver's license, but that's about the extent of it. In fact, the police here are actually more helpful than anything, the way they should be everywhere. In USA it says protect and serve on the side of the cars, which is absolute bull. They're not here to protect and serve anything in the community. They're there to protect the interest of the big money and stuff. And while they're not busy, they'll work on some stuff for you. Whereas here, they're more focused on helping the community. And that brings me to community as a whole, just the way things are here. They aren't forced into that modern world like a lot of people in the US, where everything's about anger or one-upsmanship or being an asshole. You don't see people road raging very much. In fact, here it's like salmon in the stream when it comes to traffic, you're going to get close to somebody, but you're not going to be pissed about it. You're just going to be like, okay, nod your head and move on. And that's a huge difference, man. Like, all in America, everything's about these Karens and people getting mad at the cashiers and things like that. It's such bullshit. You don't see that here. Yeah, sure, they're humans and whatever. People get angry or there's disagreements and stuff, but it's not like the main cultural thing, right? In fact, people are much more friendly and accommodating and willing to help you. And of course, now that I took a couple months worth of Thai language, it's actually quite nice because I can speak just enough to sort of do things like order food and stuff or have very basic conversations, which I think people appreciate that. Thai speakers appreciate that you pick up some of the language. And of course, the second part of that, of course, is that I barely just got a taste of it with those 2 months of class, and now it's like, oh man, I realize how little I know, because every time I listen to a deep conversation or watch some TV, I'm like, oh man, I barely just know enough to know the basics. But that's okay. It's better than not knowing anything. So on the next subject about just living here in general, of course, foreigners will always have to deal with visa situations and how they're here and why they're here. There's different scenarios, you know, if you're fortunate enough to get hired on some big company, they can provide service for you to get a work permit and a visa. That's not my current situation. I'm basically here now on the DTV, which is a 5-year tourist visa technically, but they allow you to have remote work and get remote clients. So for me as a remote video editor, I'm able to get clients from anywhere in the world as long as I'm not directly working for Thai companies. So that's actually very good if I can just keep my client list going, right? And as far as what you need to survive over here, you know, I keep a spreadsheet of everything I spend every month, and I'm not a big spender, but I'm also not extremely frugal. And I would say I'm probably spending about $1,000 US a month. Sometimes a little more. There's always something unexpected, whether it's a fee or something, or I had a little bit of medical expense, which by the way is a fraction here compared to US, and I was actually able to afford it, but it did add on to my general cost. So let's just say plus or minus $1,000 a month. Yeah, I would say anybody who wants to live a little bit more comfortably and, you know, and a little bit more nicely can probably spend $1,500 to $2,000 a month. And you'll be living, actually, honestly, you'll be living very nicely at that rate. So that's where it's at with the money. So I've been actually able to take my savings that I had coming over here and stretch it out to 3 to 4 times the time that I would have spent. In fact, in USA, it would have already been gone, long gone, and I would be living in a tent somewhere. So this has definitely helped me extend and expand my opportunities for exploration. So to sum it up, without this video getting too long, I just wanted to reiterate, Thailand has been pretty fucking wonderful, and as well as my ventures into nearby areas. I went to Vietnam and Malaysia a couple times, briefly stopped in Laos just for a border run. It's amazing though, you can travel regionally here for very affordably. So if you want to travel air flight inside of Thailand or to very nearby countries is actually like nominal, like maybe $100 for a round trip, right? So if you really want to, you know, you can go for a trip. Like I personally came here picturing myself being by the beach, but I ended up in the mountains more often. But if I wanted to go to the beach and spend a week there, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. I could just book the ticket, head on down there, have a hotel for $15 a night or something, and just explore that and then come back when I needed to. So that's pretty wonderful. You know, and I've been renting condos monthly, which, you know, it's actually quite affordable compared to the US, but I can get it to even more affordable if I sign a year lease, which I may do soon. I keep talking about it. And it's great because you don't have to have any credit report or do any long paperwork. They basically just have you fill out the basic form, and then as long as you have your money, you can start renting. There's no long process or rent history sort of situation to go through, so that's actually quite lovely. And they keep it going. So note to that, USA, if you actually trusted in the people to keep the rent going, they will keep it going. It's not about trying to control them. Note to US. Yeah, so all in all, the overall experience has been great. There are days, you know, I mean, as they say, wherever you go, there you are. Like, there's definitely days where it's just me sitting in the condo and nothing much is going on, and I'm sort of thinking, what am I going to do next? You know, you can't just go and do all the tourist stuff all the time. Thankfully, there's plenty here to do as far as hiking and exploring waterfalls like this, and going out and seeing different markets or ancient sites such as the different temples or wats. Yeah, there's a lot of that. So you always have the option to go out without spending $100, right? Like in USA, you know you're going to be spending big if you step out the door. Here, it's like I know I might go and spend $3 to $5 on a meal. If there's a fee to go to any of these places, it might be $1 or $2, right? And to sum it up, yeah, it's been a great experience. I'm glad I did it. I don't know what the future holds. I have some job opportunities coming up, and I'm going to try to work it to the best that I can. I'm going to try to be smart with that and just see where it goes. And by the way, now that I know Thailand pretty well, I know the way things sort of roll, and I've practiced a little bit of the language. Don't forget that you can always hit me up, and if you need to travel over here and give it a shot, I'm the guy that you can hit up. I can help you, get started, fast forward your footsteps into whether it's just a couple weeks or a month worth of travel, or if you want to move here, I've got tips and stuff, and I can help you out. Yeah, so other than that, guys, keep tuning in. I'll keep updating things on my YouTube channel, and I appreciate you watching.